Assalamu alaikum and welcome. This is Sylvie with Radio Azad, and it is my distinct pleasure today to welcome a very special guest. And I have here Genevieve Walsh, CEO and co-founder of Iqra Fund. Thank you for being here and welcome.
Thank you so much, Sylvie. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak.
Thank you so much. Wa alaikum salam. And it is honestly a pleasure to talk to you today because I've been following your story and it's absolutely fascinating. Could you please tell us a little bit about Iqra Fund and your background?
Sure. Yes. So I founded Iqra Fund in 2011 after spending 4 years in Pakistan researching and better understanding why there was such a barrier to education, especially for girls, especially in the rural areas. I first traveled to Pakistan to go trekking as a tourist, and my background is in education. I was a teacher, and I was deeply immersed in international educational development. So I was teaching in Southern Africa, South America. When I traveled to Pakistan on my first trip and learned that half of the school-age children were not in school, and then spent time in many of these remote villages up in northern Pakistan, up in the beautiful Karakoram Mountains, I just had so many questions of how these families who really, really wanted their children to have a better education, to have a better life. How did they not have access? And if they did, the quality of education was not great, whether it was a government school, an INGO school, or private school. And so that's when I knew on that first trip that this was my life's work. There wasn't a question. So I spent 4 years better understanding how can we in Pakistan develop a system that became an INGO, Iqra Fund. How can we develop a system that connects communities with these government services in a way that is sustainable, long-term, truly empowering for the communities, and a model where we as an INGO can work ourselves out of a job. And so that's how we started Iqra Fund in 2011.
2011. That is absolutely incredible. So 2011. So tell us a little bit about what is the mission? Of course, obviously it's education. And we know that that is an area in Pakistan. There's a huge need. The literacy rate is low, especially there's a huge gender inequality in literacy as well. So what is your mission?
Yes, so our mission is to provide access to quality education, especially for girls. And we're working in the most remote areas of northern Pakistan. So areas that are not getting served well by the government or by other INGOs or private education resources. And the key focus areas that are driving this mission is that we are creating an organization and a system in each of these school communities that will be sustainable long-term, eventually without us. And it is led by the local communities and the parents and the teachers, and eventually the children who are returning to their communities once they continue their education.
That's, again, a very challenging task, a much needed area. And as a teacher and someone in education myself, I truly believe that the way forward for all of us in this world to make a better world is through education. And so what you're doing is actually amazing, and it's just inspiring. So tell us a little bit about what are the kind of projects do you have on the ground there? What does it look like? When you say you have a system, if you could just describe what that is like, the schools, what exactly are they?
Sure. Yeah. Since 2011, we have partnered with 20 school communities so that we've now served over 5,000 students. And while our primary focus is girls, because in these communities that we're partnered with, girls had not gone to school before. So this is first generation girls. Many of the boys had been able to go to school because their families could afford to send a few of their children to school, so they would choose the boys. But even the boys weren't succeeding past primary school, past fourth grade or sixth grade. And so we actually, out of those 5,000 students, 60% of them are girls. So we are supporting boys as well. And so what that looks like on the ground when we partner with these communities, they come to us and say, we've heard about your model. We trust your work. We really want our children to have a quality education and go and continue past primary school, past middle school. Now, since 2011, the girls that we first enrolled and the boys are now completing, they're matriculating, they're going on to higher secondary school. And we even have 90 first generation girls working on their bachelor's, master's, and pre-medical degrees. And quite a few of our graduates have returned as teachers, community healthcare providers, and we're seeing this first generation achieve the vision that we had for the organization and the dreams that their parents had and that they have.
And that is just so heartwarming, that just to be able to, again, like you said, something that probably they didn't imagine that could be achievable. So to provide that, and it's honestly, as I said, we through education, you uplift a child, which in turn uplifts that family and then the entire community. And so it's so much greater than just having one child go to school. It just improves everybody's life in that area and then generations to come.
Absolutely. And in these areas, there are some of the highest infant and maternal mortality rates. Without education, girls are getting married at 14 and they begin to have children. And when I visit these communities before we're establishing these schools, when you talk to one of these young mothers who has, she was married at 14, she started having children, and you ask her how many children she has, she'll tell you how many children are living and how many births she had. It's a very tough life up in these subsistence-based farming communities in the mountains. And now we're seeing, global research shows when you educate a girl, you educate an entire community. It's also proven that the longer a girl stays in school, the later she'll be married, the smaller her family size will be eventually, and the healthier her family and community will be. And we are seeing that happen right now.
It's a huge need for that. And the girls want to go to school. A lot of times they don't have the opportunity. So it's and again an incredible thing that your organization is doing. So if you could just share with us to our listeners, what's your Ramadan appeal? What would you like to request your listeners for this Ramadan?
Oh,
Any particular project in mind that you have?
Yes. Well, first, I would just like to say thank you to the listeners who gave last year. Last year was our first time sharing Iqra Fund's story on Radio Azad. And through the broadcast and through the sharing of this story, we raised over $6,000 from all new donors, from $10 donations to $165 donations. And it takes $165 to support one girl per year. And through the gifts from Radio Azad listeners, we were able to enroll 30 new first generation girls in school and support 2 scholarships for girls who are continuing past higher secondary school. This year, I would love to see us continue that support, enroll another class of first generation girls, and see how many of these girls who are completing higher secondary this year can go on to university. So that's $165. It only takes $165
That's
to
not
send.
very much. If we think about how much we just spend, and we don't even know where that money goes. You go to the bazaar and buy a nice outfit or blouse, and before you know it, the money is spent. And instead, that money going towards somebody's education that stays with them no matter where they go. And it just helps improve their life. And again, I go back to, future generations too, because I'm going to talk about girls, especially, they will be mothers one day with their own children. So really setting that, and as you say, research has shown that they always, once you educate a female, a girl, it just improves the lives of their children as well. So can you tell us a little bit about how can people donate? What's the best way? I've been on your website, but if you could tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Sure, yes. On our website, iqrafund.org, there's a donate button, so you can donate online there. We are Zakat eligible. We're a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization. We're able to accept checks in the mail. There are wire transfer. We accept wire transfer, ACH, and also stock donations.
Okay, so stocks work too.
Yes, which a lot of people have recently been really interested in donating stock, which is exciting. On our
Great.
website, there's an email address and phone number to contact us. It actually will come straight to me. We are a small and nimble organization. When in the research that I did prior to starting Iqra Fund, what I was learning is, and what is a deep core value of ours was to create an organization that not only had a low overhead and operated efficiently, but was data driven, and has zero a zero corruption policy. Every single rupee, every single dollar is tracked, and every zakat gift, every gift given, especially during Ramadan, it goes directly to the girls and students with the greatest need. And school's about to go back into session, actually. In the northern areas, there's a very long winter break. So schools are about to open here again in the next few weeks. And every gift that we receive is going to be going directly overseas to immediately enroll more students. We have thousands of students on our waiting list.
And every dollar makes a difference, and a dollar goes a long way in Pakistan. And so again, in the month of Ramadan, zakat eligible, it is a 501(c)(3) organization, tax deductible, right? So again, iqrafund.org. You can go to the donate button. All the information is there, very easy to use. Your story is absolutely fascinating, that you went to Pakistan, you saw a need, and the teacher in you came out, and the humanitarian in you as well. And again, thank you for everything you're doing to make the lives of these people better, and anything that our listeners can do to support your journey and the journey of these people, girls and boys who want to have the same opportunities as everybody else to make their lives better. So again, hats off to you. Great job. And as I said, I would love to have a conversation with you in more detail about this. But again, iqrafund.org. And we have been talking with Genevieve Walsh, the CEO and co-founder of Iqra Fund. Thank you again. I really appreciate your time being here with us with Radio Azad and sharing this amazing work that you're doing in Pakistan.
Thank you so much for having me, Sylvie, and thank you for sharing Iqra Fund's story. And I look forward to hopefully hearing from many of your listeners and learning how they would like to get involved and support our students.
Absolutely. Inshallah. Thank you again.